Joining us is Seth Hanlon, Center for American Progress Action Fund Senior Fellow, and Grover Norquist, Americans for Tax Reform President. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. Grover, I know what you're going to say, and I think I agree with you on almost all of this. Seth, I'm going to give you the first word. Why do you think this is a good idea?
Because we need to raise revenue and we need to reduce inequality. And the best way to do that is to tax the people that have already enjoyed massive tax cuts that were promised to kickstart the economy and really haven't. 70% of capital gains go to the top 1%. And so Vice President Biden taxes those gains just like at the regular rates that regular people pay on their labor. So there's a principle of fairness there. Raises revenue to put into higher education, healthcare, and climate. Grover, your response?
I think this is wonderful. I can't imagine the Democrats deciding to declare war on everybody's the 100 million people with a 401k, the 40 million Americans with an IRA, attacking the value of people's investments. Capital gains taxes are taxes on getting rich. They're taxes on people who are starting out. Silicon Valley wouldn't exist without lower capital gains taxes, and people able to put tremendous amount of effort and time and money into something with a high risk and a high payout.
It's not going to go for everybody. I mean, it's going to be for those who are earning $1 million or more.
That's not the position. Actually, he said he was going to do it for everybody. So two things. One, he said on record he wants to do this to tax everybody's capital gains.
It wasn't part of Biden. It wasn't part of the plan he just rolled out, though.
It may not be, but he said it in the past. And two things. Whenever they decide to tax rich people with something like the personal income tax, that was only supposed to hit the people who made more than $1 million at the time with a 7% rate. Now it hits almost everybody at more than 7%. Whenever they put some marker out there, it always hits everybody. But Biden's on record
here's the complicated
wanting
part.
To hit everybody.
Is there any scenario in which you could imagine supporting some form of tax raising?
Well, an increase on the capital gains. Democrats used to at least take the position, oh, of course, capital gains is sensitive, and we never raise. When they raise capital gains taxes, they don't raise income. It actually reduces the amount of money that comes in. It's damaging to the economy every time we've done it. And we're not a low capital gains tax country when you look at corporate capital gains. We're higher than average. So we really ought to be going down, not up, to be more competitive, something that Congress did and the president did with the corporate income tax. Now they want to go in the wrong direction on capital gains taxes. We've been through this before. Even Carter cut the capital gains tax. Even Clinton cut the capital gains tax. The Democratic Party's gone hooey on this, and they're declaring war on people's life savings. Bad politics, but good for the country because it means they won't get elected.
Seth, let's just answer the first point. It's not in the plan that Biden just rolled out. This is only supposed to go on people who have incomes of over $1 million. Would you like to see it go to other people as well, as Grover thinks that will be the plan?
I mean, that's not his plan. I mean, I would certainly tax people making like in the high six figures, let's say. But that's not his plan. And I think most importantly, capital gains taxes simply don't affect people who have their savings in 401ks, which is where the vast, vast majority of middle class savings is. And it's just like we've heard this before. Every time the tax rates have gone up, we've heard the economy is going to crash, that people won't invest. The capital gains rate went up by 9 points at the end of 2012. The S&P 500 has doubled since then, and the recovery, as you were talking about, has just continued. So we've heard this argument before, and it just doesn't wash. There's no, as you mentioned, there's no long-term relationship with capital gains rates and stock prices, but more importantly, there's no long-term relationship between capital gains rates and real investment in the economy.
Seth, is there any way you would use any of this new revenue just not to add more spending, but to to deal with, like, I don't know, not spending as much, like maybe trying to not let the deficit grow as quickly? And I'm just, you never give me any, what you're going to reduce income inequality, but you never tell me how you're going to bring up the lower end. All you tell me is how you're going to hurt people at the higher end. Do you have any plans for how to actually,
Sure.
Instead of just making everyone equally poor or poorer, is there a way that you can use this in a good way where the government is actually effective? Or maybe we ought to use it just to make sure we don't add to the deficit. Would you be okay with that, with the tax increases?
That's better than nothing. I mean, I don't think deficit reduction is a huge priority at the at the moment with interest
raise
rates
more and
so low,
spend more is what we want to do now. Even we don't seem to.
Raise more and invest more. I mean, I think that, Vice President Biden's plan puts it, let's say, into higher education.
Why are you laughing, Grover? You're so evil. Why are you laughing when you hear stuff like that? You can't even hide it comes right out. Go ahead, tell me.
Look, we had 50 years of the Great Society where the Democrats told you they know how to cure poverty. They were going to spend $14 trillion, and they had very little effect on the poverty rate.
That's not true.
The reason why
dramatically reduced poverty, including elderly poverty, is like.
Okay.
Go ahead, Grover.
Yeah, thank you. According to their own numbers, it didn't have the effect. It certainly did awful things to people's family life. But that said, the reason why the left doesn't talk about curing poverty is that they spent 50 years, a lot of money, and didn't do it. So now they're going to fix inequality, which you can do without making anybody better off. You just have to make rich people worse off, and you've reduced inequality. That's why they're focused on inequality rather than poverty. I think helping poor people is a good idea. I think smashing middle-income people is a stupid idea. And if you think the capital gains tax won't affect your behavior, your ability to buy a house, your ability to make investments and do well, then you should vote for the Democrats. I think that's going to be a very interesting, hard sell for the Democrats.
Guys,
it's one of the crazier ideas they've had.